Hello and welcome back to Mindspans. I'm Craig, and I want to thank you for taking some time with me. I am still in Modena, and I love this little place. There's this hill behind me, and they have like a wine cellar underneath, built under the hill. And I'm at a place called Casa Maria Luigia in Modena, Italy. And as I said in other videos, this is the creation of the world famous chef Massimo Bottura and his wife and business partner Lara Gilmore, and it's really an extension of their 3-star Michelin restaurant in downtown Modena called the Osteria Francescana, and it's just an amazing place. It really feels like you're in your own country estate. That's how they make you feel. It's like you definitely don't feel like you're at a hotel or anything like that. It really feels like your place, and that was their plan, and I think they've executed on that amazingly well. So I'm just so grateful to be here, and because of that, I want to do something completely different. I have guided meditations. There's like 2 big bees flying around my foot, and I'm going to just ignore them. So I do guided meditations, and I do these shows where we do like discussions about many different things having to do with meditation and dreaming, lucid dreaming, all kinds of fun stuff. But I wanted to actually take you through one of my meditations that I do when I'm going deep. And sometimes I do it in a place like this, or sometimes I do it when I'm lying down in bed, when I'm getting ready to do a sort of a lucid dream entry. But I just wanted to do it with you to give you a sense of my own practice, which is a little different than the guided meditations I do are very scripted. I write all the music, and everything's timed, and it's very like, So I want to do something a little more less scripted. It's the best word I could come up with. So it's something that's more attainable, in the sense where we can just sit and talk, and I can walk you through my own meditation that I go through as if I was going through it, and I think you'll enjoy it a lot. It's a really beautiful one, and it's an interesting one. It's fun. So let's get started. Let's do a little stretching and breathe. That incredible Emilia-Romagna air. They have the best food here. It's unbelievable. It's so good. So, basically what I want you to do, when we go deep into a meditation, when we start that process, firstly, most people have a hard time because they're busy in their mind and whatnot. And so that's okay. Like, just forget about it. Like, let the busyness just be. And so one of the things I'll do is, if we start to just breathe slowly in through your nose and hold it for a second, out through your mouth, and really push all the air out, and then in, and then out. Some people want you to count through this process, whatever. I don't know. If you want, you can count. Doesn't matter. The point is that as you breathe in, imagine like sparkling, whatever your favorite color is, sparkling. I love aquamarine, so aquamarine sparkling with purple or whatever, filling my whole body and pushing through everything in my body. And then when I breathe out all the yucky stuff, all the negative stuff, and just focus on that in and out, the beauty of the oxygen coming in and feeding all your cells, and then exhaling the carbon dioxide, and and maybe thinking that the carbon dioxide is feeding all these beautiful trees and plants around us, which it is. So you just continue through that, and you're going to have little thoughts that pop up about, some conversation you had with your significant other or your boss or whatever, some argument or anything. It could be anything, but you get distracted, and so that's cool. What I'd like you to do though is, look at it, whatever it is. Say, okay, had that conversation. I'm here now. I want to be here now. I've committed to be here. There's nowhere else for me to be. I've blocked out time. This is what I want to do. This is where I am, and that is I'm just going to check that at the door. It'll be there when I get back. Trust me, it'll be there. And for now, I'm just going to say thank you very much, and I'm just going to let you hang out over there. And you could think of a little image, like a balloon, like a hot air balloon, like a helium balloon that you let go and it flies off. And that's that little thought. Flies off, up and away, a little red balloon off into the clouds. Or it could be if you're in a river and there's a leaf that falls from the tree, and instead of grabbing onto the leaf, you watch it, you see it, but you let it drift off down and around the river, far, far away. And you continue to breathe, and you sort of scan through your body very, very slowly. This is all, take the time. There's no rush. There's no nothing. So you're focusing on this beautiful breath in, getting rid of it, out, bad stuff. Sort of allowing thoughts to flow in and around and through you and up into the air and down the river. And you start scanning through your body and from your toes, and sort of move your mind's energy to your top of your toes and your feet, and just allow that energy to sit there until you sort of feel it, and then allow it to come slowly up your legs. And when you feel like some sort of tightness or blockage, try to focus all your energy on that spot, and maybe run it up and down, a little bit behind it, a little bit in front of it, and you sort of feel that energetic flow of your mind's energy pushing through until it releases. And that could take a little time, but you have time. And you have nowhere else to be. So keep moving through your legs, and your knees, and your hips, your butt, and your stomach, and you just go little by little, and looking for a little place here, a little place there, and you go up through your body and your arms and your face and your jaw. And as you go through this process, you sort of get deeper and deeper and down. And then at some point you feel sort of comfortable. And that's sort of the entry point to our practice. And you can close your eyes or don't close your eyes. I'm going to fold my legs right here because I sort of want to move a little bit. There, that's good. And what I think helps me, because I tend to be sort of a busy guy, like in my mind, so that's probably why I started this practice in the first place. And what helps me a lot is, particularly when I'm involved in a lot of projects, so I'm really good, I can do that, bring down real quick, and I feel great. But when I go to the next deeper level, I tend to get a lot of noise. So what I do is I invite all the noise. I take a place in my brain. So I imagine a lot of visualization in my brain of like a stadium, like a WWF fighting or boxing match stadium. And I imagine that I'm pushing into that space through these doors, those metal clangy doors. And I walk in, there's nobody there, it's completely empty. And I literally invite all that stuff in, everything. I invite everything in. And they come in, and from my past and the future, other planets, I mean, whatever it is, they come in and they come in and they come in and they come in until the place is full and yelling and people are screaming at each other and they're kickboxing and I'm like, just watching. Yep, I think that's all of it. And then there's this exit door that to the right, far off, not too far enough, and I sort of sneak my way and no one seems to notice. They start to maybe notice a little bit that I'm like trying to bug out of there. And but I find my way back to the exit door and I push through it and I close the door, and then there's like one of these, then there's a big button, because sometimes some of those people start to try to come with me and I don't want them to. So I have a big giant button when I get out of the door, and it causes like one of those huge metal safe doors that they're like 2 feet thick to close, and all of a sudden it's completely quiet. If you ever had a triple pane window in New York City, when you close that window, all of a sudden the noise just goes. It's amazing, actually. They're not that expensive, worthwhile to look into it. And I'm now in a very specific place. It's like it's like inside of a cave, like a mountain, inside the mountain. And it's there's 2 components to it. One is I want to bring myself down, so I have a series of paths that go down, like sort of gravelly but not slippery, so it's very safe. Everything's safe. And so I walk down and you hear that sort of, and I walk really slowly and very intently. And so what you want to do is, it's a sort of a walking meditation, very simple. If anyone has done any of those, it's basically moving extremely slow, being very attuned to the muscles in your foot and your posture and your breathing, and really each step is like a universe unto itself, and it's just very slow, and it's very slow, and you feel yourself just sort of becoming one with the space and interacting with the space as you take each step down, and you breathe in and then you breathe out the next step, and you keep doing this. Go down one level, go down another level. This depends on where I'm at, but I may go down a few levels. I may go down 10 levels. Sometimes I'll have like a fireman's pole to just jump down 10 levels at a time, because I just feel like I want to just go real deep really fast, and I feel like I could do it. So I have like my escape hatch to do that. And then I move to, so now I'm sort of at this deep place. And for those of you who have not experienced it, you should expect that at some point, you're going to get like, your subconscious really doesn't want you down there. So it puts up like little scary images or things like that. And they feel real to some, not real, but they're like scary. They can be scary, or faces or things, things pop up. And I just encourage you to go and hug them in your mind. Like, go and hug those creatures. Anything that's scary, go hug it. Anything that's dark and scary, turn some light on it. Go towards it. Don't walk away from it. The more you do that, the more comfortable you will get, and the more you realize that as you embrace those moments with a lot of love, that it's very, very rewarding and healing, and those demons turn out to be just little puppies who were hungry and needed some love. So for people, and it goes away. I mean, once you go through that process, it rarely comes up again. But definitely in the beginning, if you haven't done it, it does happen to almost everyone that I've known, and you should be prepared to just love everything that happens. So, and it'll go away, and it's really healing. It really is a healing thing. So you get through that, assuming you're going through that, and it's like then there are a lot of directions you can go at this point. So if I'm doing a lucid dreaming, like if I'm going to go into lucid dreaming, I'll start to visualize a scene from the dream. I'll set my intention to continue my consciousness through this process. I'm trying to put my body to sleep without my mind going to sleep, and tricking your brain into thinking that you're sleeping, basically. So that has its own process. But for this, let's just go a little deeper and go to a place where we can sort of energize, sort of connect to the universal energy, which is it's a beautiful thing. I did some videos on using energy to push through different blockages and to heal you and all this kind of stuff. And so those are all things you can use once you've gone through all this. Then you can use these tools to redirect in whatever direction. So you've come down all these levels. If you want, you can take the fireman's trail down, and then we're gonna, off to the right, there's this beautiful door that leads to the outside, and we're gonna go outside the mountain, and we go out, and it's this beautiful lawn, like where I'm at right now, and there's a lake, and you can walk to the lake barefoot, and it feels so great. It's perfect temperature for you, and it's just this little journey where you continue. Everything is downhill, a little bit downhill. So we're using that as a metaphor to continue to go deeper while maintaining beauty and slow peace and presence, and sort of with each step that you take, imagine that you're reborn in that step. So every time you take a step, it's like you were just born into this body in that step. And with the next step, you're born into the body in that step. And you're born into the body in the next step. And with each breath, you're born into that breath. And it creates this rhythm of rebirth, of energetic rebirth. And so you continue. And sometimes I'll hang out by the water and just, maybe I'll go for a swim. If I have a lot of time, I may go for a swim, or maybe I'll do a little paddleboard, and there'll be like rainbows and waterfalls. But in this case, we're going to keep going down. So I want to take you to a place where it's the place that's completely empty, where there's nothingness. It's just nothing. And for a lot of people, that's really, really scary, because it's a place where you've moved away from all your programming, you've moved away from your thoughts, you moved away from your future, you moved away from your past. And it's scary because it's vulnerability and could be empty and lonely. And so there's this fear of that. And where I want to take you there, because I want to show you that it's not that at all. That it's actually a really beautiful place that's filled with peace and joy. So we're not going to go swimming right now. We're going to make a right turn by the lake. And there's a very special tree there, big oak tree, big giant 500-year-old, like the ones behind me, giant trees, oak trees. And there's a little door carved into one of the trees off to the right. And open the door, and you can go through the door. And there's candles, and it's very beautiful. I mean, there's like a stairwell that goes down, there's a wooden stairwell that goes down, there's candles, and it's absolutely beautiful, and there's, couldn't be more beautiful. All the carving and beautiful images, and everything's just perfect. And you want to walk down slowly. Again, everything is very slow, no rush, we're not going anywhere, and just breathing and rebirthing through this whole process. And smile, allow yourself to smile, how beautiful it is, and how great you're starting to feel, and you're starting to really feel that deepness. And when you get to the bottom of the stairwell, there's a little path, dirt path. It's also well lit and it's beautiful. And then it starts to get darker. And then there's a big sort of crater that you see in the center of this little underground cave area. So you sort of move towards that. And it's really cool, it's interesting, what's it doing there? And when you look over and you look at it, and it's like the space, like black stars, like space, like you're looking into space, down into space. And this is hard for some people, and it took me a while too. But we're gonna walk over to the edge of it and fall into it. And your brain doesn't want you to do that, so you're going to have a lot of resistance to doing that. Some people don't, but a lot of people do. And so one of the mechanisms for dropping into this is I imagine like there's a pole, like a bar across the top, and I hang from the bar, and I imagine that I'm hanging. The energy I'm using from hanging is all the attachments, all the energy that I put into all attachments in everything in my life, for all my life and all my future. And I channel all of that into that, and I tell myself I'm now going to let go of all of that, and I let go and fall into the space with the expectation of falling, and it's like that. You do feel the falling, and then little by little it starts to calm down, and you start to really enjoy it, and it becomes like this very peaceful, soft space. And eventually you get to a point where you're actually reaching a bottom, and there's actually a bottom, and meanwhile you're now, the 10th time you do this, you're going to be like jumping off, and you're like, yeah. It's a great part of the journey, because it gets you really deep really fast too, but it's all beautiful, and you get stars, and it's really cool, and they fly by you. And it's also similar to what you might experience when you're going into a lucid dream. You get this like tunnel feeling, stars, or out-of-body experiences, or other types of sort of super energetic experiences. And as you get to the bottom, you slow down, you're floating, and you sort of hit this sandy bottom, like you totally float into it. And then there's a tunnel that leads off to the left that goes onto this incredible cliff area. And it's this one of the places, it's like one of my main sacred spaces where I do a lot of deep meditations. And it's basically this plateau, 30,000 feet above the ocean. And it's all this beautiful grass, and at the end, right by the edge, there's these like 5 points that stick out, these giant rock triangles, like the points of a star, and they're like little meditation pad points, they have these beautiful mandala figures and jewels and pretty colors and rocks and gems, and it's just gorgeous, right? It's like perfect, beautiful, and comfortable, and so I sit there, and that's where I start my practice to go to the empty space. And so at this point, we're very, very deep. You're basically almost in a sleep mode at that point, probably deeper than a very normal sleep mode. And at which point, what I want you to do is close your eyes and I'll imagine that you're floating in this dark space. And imagine that you have roots that start to extend from your body, from all your cells. And those roots are extending into the stars and into the ground and into the oceans. They're just extending everywhere from this dark space you're in. And all that energy from all those things are starting to feed into you. And it's not just the energy of the star, but it's the light and the warmth. And it's not just the energy from the ocean or the waterfall, it's the coolness and the mist and the oxygenation. And from the earth, it's the nutrients. So you're bringing energy, you're bringing hot and cold and energy and oxygen and nutrients. And as you do that, and if you start to scan through your body again, you're going to feel, if you bring your mind energy to your foot, you're going to feel a very strong difference from when we first started. It's going to be very specific. You're going to feel that energy directly on wherever you point your brain, whether it's your foot or your knee or your neck or your chin, your ear, your head, fingers. And just move that energy around, take in all that energy from outside and redirect it to different parts of your body inside, and feel that energy moving around. And imagine you're releasing channels, like you have all these channels, thousands of channels around your body, and all that energy is blowing through all those channels and opening everything up, and so that you're like now this like one with all the universal energy. And you sort of just, it can get sort of weird right there. You may start to feel like a lot of energy can happen, and it can feel a little scary. So it's normal and it happens and it's totally cool. And so if you feel like things are getting a little weird like that, all I want you to do is just continue and just fall back into it, like if you were falling back into a bed backwards, with your eyes closed, and you get that really whoosh feeling a little bit, but there's a bed right there, and just fall into it like that, like a bed, and it's bubbling energy all around you and through you and whatnot. And you're just, little by little, you expand. Then you start to expand the sense of who you are, your sense of physical self. Out, up, down. And at some point, you get to this place where you fill all the space and you're buzzing with energy, but it's completely filled with, love and coolness and gratitude and energized and oxygenated. And it's just like, it's such an amazing, and then just to be there, it's sort of like when you're floating when you give in to floating on your back in a pool, and you just float. And that's it. And you found that little spot where you can just float. And you hear your breath in and out through your ears underwater. And you see a beautiful cloud passing by. And you're just completely connected to everything. And you just stay there as long as you want. And then when you feel like you're ready, you just sort of slowly bring yourself back, breathing, reconnect with your breath, maybe wiggle your fingers a little bit, maybe start to feel like you're rising up, back up to the surface from the grass, maybe touch the grass, start to, in your mind, touch things, engage, and little by little bring yourself back up, up, up. And I think you'll feel, I love this. I do it all the time, and it's like been a half hour or something, but it doesn't have to be that long, or it can be an hour sometimes. And you can make other little journeys or do other things, whatever. But the idea is to find yourself in that place where you're fully connected and you're fully distributed, and you are the universe. You are one with the universe, and that place is not a lonely place. Is the point? That place is not a scary place. It's not a lonely place. It's like full of love. It's full of energy. It's full of fun. It's exciting, and it's clarity. You have so much clarity, and again, I always say, like, all this stuff is about just elevating. We have this beautiful opportunity to be on this planet, and to live and to really elevate each second, each moment, and all these things help with that, and help you gain perspective on yourself and other people that you're interacting with. So with that, I'm gonna go have some pasta. I wish everyone a really great day. Please subscribe to the channel and like the video and share it with your friends. And I look forward to doing more. I have to leave here tomorrow, which is too bad, but it is what it is. It was really, really so beautiful to be here, and encourage you all to check it out and see if you can find your way here sometime. It's really a worthwhile experience. So thank you again, and have a really, really awesome day. Thanks.